Hi, my name is Shamira.
And I'm Anna, and we're from Kaimia Community Aid. And
We're here today in PointsBet Stadium, and we're talking about a very important topic, racism. Would you like to introduce yourself?
So my name's Jada, and I'm a Sharks player and also a Gamilaroi woman from Tamworth, New South Wales.
Would you talk to us about where you grew up and the community you grew up in?
Yeah, so I grew up in Tamworth, was born and raised there, and then moved to Sydney when I was in year 10 for schooling and been here ever since. Loving the Shire at the moment.
Have you ever experienced racism?
Not directly, I think, because people look at the colour of my skin, and so therefore I probably see a bit more casual racism. People think it's okay to say things in front of me, and yeah, so not directly, but definitely seen a lot of it.
As you said before, you've seen it. How did that experience exactly make you feel?
It is a sickening feeling. I think you feel for your community and you feel for your people. So I think we need to get it out there more that it's not acceptable. Casual racism will not stand in our community or any community. I think that's the stand we need to be taking. Everybody's a person, everybody has feelings, and despite our differences, we're all amazing. So I think that's something that everyone should take into account. People are starting to be a bit more respectful about culture, and there's racist comments are sort of in our past somewhat, but people still make those casual remarks like we said, and there is still racism, and I think people really need to open their eyes and see that, and I think that's why it's so important that Indigenous peoples have a voice in Parliament.
As you said before, you've seen it. What did it look like?
Yeah, it can look like a group of friends talking, and someone said a stereotype about somebody just based on their culture. I think people think it's because that's their friend and that they can get away with it, and they didn't really mean it. I think if it feels like racism, it is racism. There's no real way of identifying it or saying this is or this isn't racism. If it feels like it is to you and it hurts, that's racism. The thing is, we need to call it out. It's not acceptable, and they need to be told it's not acceptable, because otherwise they're not getting educated and we just go in this cycle that is racism. People get a little bit aggressive when you call them out. They get embarrassed and they know it's wrong, so when you call them out, they tend to get defensive and try and go, oh, no, like that's not what I meant. But the thing is, it is what you meant, it's what you said.
What impact do you think racism has on individuals, communities, and society in general?
On an individual level, I think people can lose their sense of identity. It causes mental health problems and physical health problems. In communities, I think it divides communities. I think it creates a them and us sort of situation. And in society as a whole, it's created wars. It has done in the past, and it can again if we don't stand up to racist behaviour.
As players, do you still experience racism?
100%. I think especially we see it in the boys' game. The boys' game is obviously more widely viewed by the country, and we've seen it recently be called out by some of our players, and now there's push for education around people who make racist comments, and the Sharks have done a great job with PointsBet Stadium putting out guidelines to protect our players, to protect our spectators and our staff. So if you do anything racist or show any racist behaviour, we will report it, and you will be asked to leave the stadium and not invite it back.
How can athletes use their influence to raise awareness about racism and make a positive change?
Sometimes they're more respected, despite just being humans too, they're more respected because of their status in being an athlete. So I think they can use that positively, and even us supporting the voice is a massive shift in society, and people want to be a part of what the athletes are doing. You guys coming in today is just a great sign of what the Sharks are doing. Programs like One Heart, where we go into schools and teach year 5 and 6 people the impacts on racism and what it can do to somebody. We had a young boy wearing one of our Indigenous designed shirts, and he was so proud. He walked up and said to us, like, oh, this is for me because I'm Aboriginal. And I think it's moments like those that you think, wow, like there is so much good happening in society at the moment. But at the same time, we want every little Indigenous kid, every little kid, regardless of what culture or where they come from, to be proud of who they are.
What advice would you give young athletes who experience racism in their sports journey?
Don't be afraid to call it out. I think, especially as young people, we sort of feel like we're being disrespectful, but it's not. It's the other way around. Like, be that person who wants to make change, be the change you want to see, call it out, ask for help if you need it.
If you had the power to stop racism, what would you change?
I think it needs to come from both ends. I think at a government level, we need that voice. We need something that represents us, and we need action taken if people continue to be racist. You know, we're a very diverse country, and I'm proud of that, and everyone should be proud of that.
Yeah. Thank you, Jada, for coming in and discussing this very important topic today.
Thank you guys so much for having me.